Right guys, so this is a tutorial for the back pose with one hand on hip. So this is going to be applicable for the UK DFBA and the WNBF. So we're going to get into the foot position first. And what a lot of people will do in this one, interestingly, is what they'll do is spike a calf. So they'll put one foot back with a calf up. But if you just hit the pose with one hand on hip, just for that, what happens here is when you do that, you're kind of setting yourself in an uneven position to start off with, and it's hard to promote symmetry in this position. So what I like to do is just have our feet shoulder width apart and slightly facing outwards, and that'll be absolutely fine. So in terms of getting into the pose, this is going to be a little bit different to the hands off hip front pose, just because we're going to have the one hand on hip. So if you're completely new to this pose, what I would do first is get onto your lats, put your hands on your hip, both of your hands on your hip, and open your lats up like a bodybuilding lat spread. So you open them both up. From that position, whatever hand you're taking off your hip, just take that off from there. So the main things we want to see is we want this elbow and this elbow to be level in terms of height, and we want this hand and this hand to be level in terms of height as well. So what will happen if you put this elbow too high, a lot of people will do this, is they'll think it's a normal back pose, and then they'll just put one hand on hip, and you can see there that the pose just looks a little bit sort of uneven there, and the lats don't look symmetrical as well. And then on the other hand, if people just put the lat too low, like this, once again, you're not fully opening up this lat here. It's almost like a bodybuilding back relaxed pose, and this one looks spread nicely, but this one isn't opened up to the same extent. So we just need to make sure that the lats are even in height. So similar to the other back pose as well, we need to make sure we are sort of engaging that lower back and leaning back to an extent. So if we disengage the lower back, relax it, face upright, so you can see here, the detail in the pose is pretty much gone. If we do the opposite, lean back too much, you can see, yeah, there's a lot of detail in the pose, but what will happen is when the light's shining down, it will hit Ryan's head, and then you're gonna sort of be washed out from the back here, and you won't even see any detail. So all we want is just engage the lower back, stick the chest out, and then just lean back a little bit, and that'll be absolutely spot on. So another thing we need to be careful about is where we put our hand on our hip. So what I like to do is just sort of have it sort of level with where the belly button is. If you bring it too high, like right next to the lats, you're gonna find it, you're gonna be shrugging up with this side, and you're gonna find it harder to like properly open up this lat, and it's gonna look a little bit awkward. If you do the opposite and put it down there, once again, you're just gonna create a little bit of unevenness here, and it's gonna be a bit harder to fully spread the lat. So typically, I would like it sort of somewhere in that position. Right guys, similar to the back pose with the hands off the hip, we need to be careful what we're doing with our elbows in terms of what plane they're in. So if we bring them too far back, so we don't open up enough, this is what will happen. The scapula will retract, and you'll get this effect here when you're not even opening up your lats at all. If you do the opposite, spread them really far forward, they over protract, and you get this effect here where you lose the detail of the pose and you can't sort of see the lower lat thickness. So I would have the elbows pretty much level with the plane of the body like I was showing there, and that would show the best combination of the detail but also the width in the pose as well. Right guys, so that was the tutorial for the back pose with one hand on hip, and stay tuned for the next one.